Hey guys, Lorene here with Silverliningnation. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and we just want to thank you guys for tuning in to Silverliningnation. We really appreciate it. Also, guys, make sure you share, subscribe, and most of all, stay sober. Bye, guys. What's the name of your sober living house? This one.
This one? This is transitional housing.
Okay. So, how many are there?
Just this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a new beginning. Are they going to have other houses or have several?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know too much of the background. It has been for like 10 years, and I know it originally started down the road and then they moved to this house, but this is it. This is where the magic happens, yeah.
Okay. When you said magic, I like that. What are you talking about, girl?
I don't know, like I came here in November, and like ever since then when things started really happening, like I could just tell this place was blessed. It's not like any other place I've been.
I love that. I love that. It's like
yeah, it's blessed.
You know what I mean? When I go to, I just feel this calm, and I feel at peace when I'm there.
Yeah.
So is that similar what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't comprehended it yet, type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's like there's some people in the 12-step recovery, and this one particular individual, when I'm around her, I feel so at peace. Have you ever been around someone like that and they just make you feel so calm and relaxed, and you just want to just embrace just being with them?
Numerous.
I love that. I love that feeling. I've never had that feeling too many times other than when I came into a 12-step program. And I started being around people like that, and it's like, I like that feeling, but I didn't know what it was. You know what that means? What that feeling is? Serenity.
Okay, I actually was going to say that. I lied.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be wrong.
Serenity. Hey, girl, ain't no wrong or right here. We just trying to do our thing, and, just one day at a time, trying to stay sober and trying not to make this shit too complicated. That's my thing, because if you make it too hard for me, I ain't going to do it. It's like my mind don't operate like that, because first of all, I'm hard-headed. And then you throw all these rules at me, and it's like, I don't like following rules anyway, right? So now you give me all these things that I got to do, I ought to not do, and you must, and all this, and now I don't want to do anything. So that's how I look at doing things wrong and right. And also, I always say in the rooms of recovery, my program doesn't have to look like anybody else's program. Only thing I have to do, like all of you guys, you know what that is? Alexa, you should know. What is the one thing that I say? I'm testing you to see how much you listen to.
Oh, God.
How much do you listen to me when I'm talking? Because that's really important. This is a test. Step
What's
one.
the test?
Step one.
Yeah.
That's the only step that I have to do like everyone else. Don't pick up.
Yeah.
And everything else, I might mess it up, but that's okay. I can still get back on the wagon and start my day over again, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's why I try to remember the easy does it thing. With easy does it, it's like, don't overthink it.
That's true.
Yeah, I can easily overthink anything.
I was actually sharing this morning how, because I too am hard-headed, and like, if the rules make sense to me, I'll do them, no problem. And the program seemed pretty simple. You got some things to follow, I'll do it. And lately I've come into some struggles, personal struggles, and it took me forever to to realize that we have to also be powerless over things that aren't just alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
It's people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you act the exact same way when we can't accept, what's going on and lower our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my experience is, like, when I'm going through something, I want to go back to what makes me comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes me comfortable is drugs and alcohol. And my mind, in the back of my mind, it'll say, well, you know what you need to do. It'll take care of this problem. It'll take care of that uncomfortable feeling. But because I've been in the program for a little while, I realized that that's not true. My disease is out to tell. It'll tell me exactly what I want it to tell me, but I have to realize that my disease is cunning and baffling, and that's what that means. And I have to be careful with how long I engage with that thought. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I have to be careful with engaging with the thought that, well, maybe, I can. Hey, y'all, and welcome to Silver Lining today. I am so honored to be here. I have Jesse, Alexa, and Ellie, and they have agreed to be on Silver Lining to share their experience about living in a sober living environment. And I am really honored that you guys allowed us to be here today. So we have these amazing little cups here, and I want each one of you guys to grab one, and I want you to tell me what it says and what you think about that particular cup after you grab it. So just grab one. I could see it on this side, but you can't. So I want each one of you just to grab a cup.
Alexa, be of service to me and please grab me one.
Oh, look at that. We got that down to a cue.
Oh, no.
So, what do your cups say?
It says patience, the one thing you should never pray for. Yeah.
Yes, I don't think I would have wanted to get that one. Alexa, what's your cup?
Comfort. I like that one.
I bet you do. Ella, what you say?
Mine says wisdom. Yeah.
Wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I'm going to cheat because I can see mine. We just got through talking about this one. And
what is it?
Serenity. Yeah.
We did.
Serenity. I love that. Yeah, we thought that we would bring these just for some little icebreakers, and I thought they were really cute. So let's go back and talk about your experience with living in a sober living environment. How did you get here? What were your thoughts when you first came? What were your fears? Who wants to start us off?
Well, I mean, I've been here since like November 4th. Not like, literally have been here since November 4th of last year. And so that's kind of a long time and a long story. So I did 60 days in South Padre Island. That's where I did my treatment. Obviously, I'd hit my rock bottom right before that. I had no problem getting on a plane and getting to South Padre and not looking back. And so the hardest part was transitioning from treatment to where am I going to go after this? Because around 30, 60 days is where you maybe start to get to know yourself again. And but you should not trust yourself, So I was actually looking at sober livings in Austin. I was looking at sober livings in Kerrville. And my aftercare coordinator on South Padre, I honestly don't know why I chose. I know I had a friend here prior who was in treatment with me. That might have been why. maybe she was my stepping stone from God. I really can't tell you. But it was like a last minute decision that I came here. And when people ask me, you know, what's the difference other types of sober livings, that's a whole other rabbit hole of a conversation. Kind of like what we talked about earlier. Like, this place is blessed.
Yes.
I don't even remember what your original question was. What brought me here?
Yes. Where are you from?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I am from the corner of Washington State, 100 miles north of Seattle, up next to the Canadian border.
Okay.
So, yeah, I came here from a long way. I actually used to live in Houston in 2016, and I left, and I said, I'm never coming back to Texas. And the joke was totally on me. I know. But really blessed to be here, and totally not an odd thing. It was a God thing that brought me here. Yeah.
Awesome. Alexa.
I'm from Colorado originally, and I was in November of 2021. I was on vacation with my family, and I had about 2 weeks sober at that point. I had just gotten out of treatment with from somewhere in Colorado, and but my excuse was, you know what, we're going on vacation, I'm gonna need something to relax on the plane. So I got my things and relapsed, and I didn't make it but 4 days, and then I was off to another treatment center in Florida that my parents had found. So I guess like my kind of story is a little bit different in the way that I never really made like my own choice and took my own action to go to treatment and to get well. But I think either way, like, I still found the comfort and serenity in it because I know that it's what I needed. And like, I had been sober for the 2 weeks before that, but I was just miserable. I had no solution. I just kind of locked myself in my room and was like, if I go outside of my room, I'm going to relapse, and I don't want that, so I just didn't go outside my room. But after treatment in Florida, I was in treatment for about 90 days, and I relapsed right at the end of it, and got kicked out. And then I ended up, I'm like, well, where do I go? And since I had the 90 days sober almost, and then just relapsed that once, my parents found through the treatment I was at, that's all under the Origins Counseling branch.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a sober transport in Florida, and I didn't even know I was coming to Dallas until I was at the gate in the airport, and I was like, oh no, Texas, I do not like Texas. But, yeah, I don't know, it's really different than what I thought it would be. I mean, I didn't want to be here, like, I still wasn't ready, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I think I was going somewhere with that. I didn't want to be here at first, but then, like, here, like, you actually get the solution of the 12 steps in a 12-step program, and, like, that's where it really, like, actually changed. Like, I wasn't just sober and miserable. Like, I'm actually able to, like, laugh and have fun, and, like, we do all these fun things, and, like, it's actually shown me that there are people, like, my age and, mm-hmm. like, from similar backgrounds and the exact same story as mine that are able to come and have fun together, mm-hmm. that are sober, and that's, like, really what's made all the difference.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm honored to be your sponsor. I think I've told you that numbers of times, and I just want to continue to let you know that. Yeah.
I'm honored to have you as my sponsor.
Sometimes, huh?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, I got here a little bit differently than they did. I'm still kind of a newbie to the whole sobriety things. I actually get 90 days this weekend. This is my first time getting sober. Yeah.
That's a
this
lot.
is my first time getting sober. I didn't go to treatment before coming to and I actually knew a couple of the girls before coming here. I was in IOP with Alexa, Origins, IOP counseling in Dallas. My family's from Dallas, so I'm from the area. Before that, I was living in Austin, going to University of Texas, studying biology in Austin. And I was flunking all of my classes. I was being dishonest with my parents. I wasn't leaving my apartment. I mean, I would go like 4 or 5 days at a time without interacting with anyone and just sitting in my apartment, drinking and using because I was so ashamed. I just didn't want to see anyone else. And that kind of came to a head during spring break of this year. So I guess that was March or April. I came home to visit my family, and I went out with some friends in Fort Worth and went on a binge and ended up in the hospital the next day from alcohol poisoning. So I came home. I remember I was laying in bed. I'm pretty sure I was still drunk. My parents came in and confronted me, and they were just like, what is the deal? You're not yourself. You haven't been yourself. We know there's something wrong. Can you please just be honest? And I was finally honest with them. I told them how miserable I was. I told them that I was having suicidal ideations all the time, that I was flunking my classes. And we decided in that moment, while I was still like, I probably wouldn't have agreed to this if I was completely sober, for me to move back home, get a medical withdrawal from school, and I would try to find treatment here. Originally, I was still in denial. And I thought that I was going to just do some type of mental health treatment for anxiety and depression. I didn't think that I was an alcoholic. I didn't think I was one of us yet. And I came back. We were looking at all different types of treatment centers. Nothing really fit. So we landed at Origins IOP. They just had I got good energy from the pictures and their information online. Went to IOP I was probably in IOP for a month, and I was using and drinking throughout the entire time. I was honest with my dad about it, and he was like, clearly something is not, if you're in IOP and you have all this riding on you being successful in IOP and you still can't stay sober, something needs to change.
I don't want to stop you,
Yeah.
but let's say what IOP is.
Oh, yeah, of course. Intensive outpatient program. So IOP is basically where you go to therapy. We went for 3 days a week, from 9:30 to 12:30 every day with a group of other ladies that were also struggling with addiction and alcoholism. And basically just learned coping skills, methods to get yourself through all of the new feelings that you're having in early sobriety. Basically just teach you skills to be a successful...
Living in society.
Be successful. And yeah, after realizing that I wasn't going to be successful in just IOP, we decided for me to come to... I've been here for 3 months now, and I haven't relapsed since getting here, so I feel like it's going well.
Awesome. So it sounds like it's a little more strict than other places. Is that a true statement? Is that what I'm hearing from you guys?
Sorry.
No, you go.
I wouldn't
should
say
speak.
it's more strict necessarily. I think there's a lot more accountability, and there's a lot more structure to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, more like strict makes me think of like, I don't know, militant.
Well, see, that's that mom thing. I'm a mom, and all I think about is strict. And this is so.
It's more discipline.
Okay.
And discipline means making progress.
Okay,
so.
I like that. I like that. I want to discuss, because I know you guys, when I came into the 12-step program, I was a lot older. I mean, I raised children, and you guys are so young. And I see so many younger people coming in, and I have to tell you guys how proud I am of each one of you for being in a recovery program, because I can imagine the peer pressure in you. I don't know, because I'm not there, and this is why I'm asking your view on this. Is it frightening? What do you think about that? Do you think you're too young? What were your fears? I can't possibly, my life is over with. Do you understand where I'm going with this? I want you to share the fears about being sober at such a young age.
All right. Well, I know for me, because I'm the oldest of them too, I just turned 29. And I have been struggling with my sobriety for officially probably the past 10 to 12 years. But I knew I had a problem at like age 16. And I definitely had the fear of being a failure, admitting that I needed to come to, I don't want to say a place like this, but having to seek help, I guess. And even like a year later, it is hard because I do see, my friends back home who are normies, and they
did you notice?
Oh, no, girl.
And each one of you guys have one of these, by the way. I bought one for each one of you guys. So
better have my size.
I do.
Thank you. Yeah, and they have families and they're married and doing all these things, and so that's why I really do have to bring it back to God, like what's this journey for me and what is this teaching me? And that's where I have to really focus. Thank God for the 12-step program, that I shouldn't sit in self-pity and self-sabotage myself and get out of my head. But yeah, there's definitely fears of being a failure, disappointing others. It's easy to fall into the why me.
Yes.
And being confused.
Pour me a drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Really easy to do that.
Alexa.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the youngest. I'm 19. There was a girl here earlier that was younger than me, actually there were two girls here that were younger than me at one point, and which is really kind of, I've never seen that before. I've always been the youngest person at like any meeting or any treatment center, but it's really cool to see that. And one of the girls was such like a good example of what sobriety and like a young woman is in sobriety. And that was really cool. I mean, I had the fear of missing out, like, I mean, I'm not even 21. I haven't even had like a legal drink. But so I still kind of think that I'm like, well, on my 21st birthday, like, what am I gonna do, right? We're just gonna be drinking Sprite? Like, I mean, that's cool, I guess. But, I mean, yeah, that fear is still there, but I think, like, I don't have, like, the decades of using that a lot of the people in the room have, but, like, I've known I'm not normal. First got approached about it in 7th grade by a friend's mom who also works a 12-step program, and yeah, like, I mean, I was in 7th grade. I went there, and it was all...
That's probably had to be weird, right?
Yeah, it was very weird. It kind of turned me off to the idea for a long time. But I mean, I wasn't at the point where I was ready to get help, or anything. But yeah, of course there's fear of missing out and stuff. But I think of when I was using and when I was drinking, I wasn't having fun. I was doing it alone in my bedroom. Like, that wasn't fun. So I think there's a fear of missing out, but, like, I'm not actually missing out on anything. I think it's more of, like, the jealousy of not being normal, I guess. Or, like, the, like, wanting like, oh, I wish that I could just go out and do this, but like I know I can't. I've never been able to just have one drink.
There's no such thing.
No, there's not. And people
who does that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. People that buy like a $12 margarita and then only drink half of it. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's called alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say that to my
alcohol.
normal friends, and it's like, you're not drinking that.
Yeah.
Why are you still on that same drink?
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that's something about Dallas too. Is like, I mean, I was in a really small town in Colorado, and there weren't really any young people in sobriety, in recovery. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places. I mean, I wasn't, but I wasn't really looking.
You wasn't at the right places.
Yeah. But I mean, the community here that I've like learned and just seen, and the fellowship that I've gotten from all of these people that are like relatively my age is really, really awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, pretty lady.
Yes, I guess, in between. I'm 23, and
This is really an awesome age group with you guys.
Yeah,
I
we've
love
got a
that.
little spread, and our house has a pretty big spread of age ranges. We have some women that are in their 60s also.
Really?
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Wow.
We have a whole wide range.
Nice.
Yeah, lots of different experiences. But for me, I think being this age, the hardest part, and especially being in an early sobriety still, is romanticizing and glamorizing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Haha.
Yes, wanting that, especially because I still have a year left of school, and wanting to have that typical college experience still. I feel like that's been taken almost by sobriety. But I get to have a different experience, one that's going to be a lot more hopefully successful and school-based and not partying and drinking all the time. But yeah, definitely glamorizing and romanticizing like Greek life and all that kind of stuff is really hard to being this age. I know a lot of people also talk about like worried about not being able to drink at their wedding and drink it at special occasions and big occasions and stuff. And that always kind of comes to mind too.
Yeah. The people in the program, what helped me when I was newly sober, they would say, Lorene, your head and feet need to be in the same place. And they would say, don't worry about that. You know, it haven't happened, so you need to stay right now in today. And I start practicing that, and it got easier. And I've gone to a lot of weddings and of my kids, and I didn't have to drink. I've gone through other celebrations, because what I realize is that's just one day, y'all. And am I willing to give up everything that I worked so hard to achieve when it comes to being sober for that one day, right? And my answer has always been, by the grace of God, no. So I do know that other people have been able to celebrate those things and haven't taken a drink, so why can't I? That's how I always look at it. The other thing I want to talk to you ladies about is, what are the rules here? Do you have rules? Are you supposed to do certain things? You know, what are the requirements? What do they put you guys through? Who wants to talk about that?
Well, I'll just say when I got here, I was overwhelmed. It was overwhelming, definitely.
Why was that? What was overwhelming? What are you referring to?
Well, when you what is it called whenever you first come and they
Intake.
Yes, intake. During intake they give you a pretty thick packet of rules. We actually discussed recently that we're going to try to do away with some of those, so looking forward to that.
There is that alcoholic coming out.
Yeah.
We got to change this. We ain't going to have that.
Yeah, pick and choose.
Yes.
There's just a lot of structure to the week and the day, which is really what we need. You know, we also being respectful to the house and being respectful to others with like cleanliness and not like leaving your stuff everywhere and leaving your food everywhere and making a mess. That's a lot of rules with that, definitely. But more just, I'd say, structure throughout the day, structure throughout the week. I feel like a lot of the rules kind of revolve around that.
I think coming from an inpatient for me where there was structure and everything was like planned out hour to hour kind of thing, and people were telling us where to go, when to do it, coming here and having that like planned out, like having a full day kind of thing wasn't new or intimidating to me, but I think the thing that was and still is, I'm still kind of struggling with it a little bit from time to time, are like a lot of like the little things. Like we have a sign out board like when we leave the house and like go to the gym, or you know, if we have a like doctor's appointment or we want to go like get our nails done or something, we have to sign out, and if we don't, we'll get like our phone taken away, or you know, like a lot of like none of them are unreasonable, but it's a lot to remember a lot of the time. When we go to a meeting, we have to get it signed, and sometimes it's kind of hard to remember to do that because we get back to the house and, you know, staff will leave, and it just has to kind of be on our mind, like, okay, remember to get this signed by the end of the day. And so it can be frustrating sometimes. There's a lot of like little things, but I feel like once you're in the habit, it's a lot easier, and it just becomes the normal thing to do. And you do eventually, you kind of do it without thinking of it, and you learn like we have a sheet you sign up for rides. Like, I mean, we're so lucky because they drive us everywhere, and with the gas
That's awesome.
prices,
I need that.
yeah, right.
I want somebody to drive me everywhere.
Right, especially with the gas prices. It's very, very convenient, but like we have to sign up the day before for a ride. And it's just like I've kind of learned, like when I think of it, like I'm like, oh yeah, like I have this tomorrow, and then I'll think like I gotta sign up for a ride, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just do it when I pass the board, and then I won't end up doing it. I'll end up forgetting. So it's kind of like the just remembering to do it like when I think of it, and just making that a habit. But yeah, there's a lot of the tiny rules were what kind of got to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your phone taken away a lot.
I don't have my
We know.
Yeah.
We know.
This is actually one of my favorite topics.
Awesome.
Because, yeah, the majority of the women that come in here do not see the benefit of it. Like it says in our fancy book, we alcoholics are undisciplined.
Yes.
Especially in
yes.
Yeah. And, I mean, even before we ever probably picked up a drink or a drug, we were sloppy, entitled. We do get a lot of entitled women in here who think it's okay to leave their stuff around. And if they're treating, you know, this place like that, imagine what they did in the free world, you know? And then we do have the people who are, like, very type A and, like, very tidy, and they have to learn to give grace to those people who do on occasion leave something out. So it goes both ways. If we do leave something out, we get fined. And, like, me personally, I'm not even going to lie, I got fined twice this last week. I never get fined. And I had to do my own personal work on it, and it was just because I wasn't communicating. And these are life skills we can use once we leave here.
Yes.
Instead of getting overworked and cheesed off and mad at this person holding a petty resentment, just talk about it. And those are things I never did before coming in this house. All of these silly little rules do have a bigger picture to them. I know the signing out one for me is because they do want to keep us safe. I can't tell you how many times I left the house and worried my mother. Or
that's a great way to put that.
Like, it applies to so many situations. And I don't know, I can't think of, like, you know, obviously, like, no TV till 7 because they want us to be productive. We were, like you guys said, we were totally unstructured.
Yes.
And I know for me, who is actually now really routinely, I like to do the same things every day. Before my sobriety, I was not like that. I didn't even know really this part of me existed.
Because we're not disciplined people, like you were saying earlier. I need something. It's like working the 12 steps. I never want to be a horrible person to anyone. I didn't want to be a bad mom, a bad friend, or a bad wife. I didn't want to be any of those things, but I didn't know how not to be those things.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, I knew right and wrong. You know, I was taught that. I went to church and all this stuff that we're taught as kids about right and wrong. But when the drugs and alcohol, it took over those rights and wrongs for me. My value just start coming down lower and lower. And then I got to be where I was okay being this person that didn't have any morals anymore. Exactly. So I love that you guys are here. The thing for me is I see a lot of people, they go to treatment centers and they go to these places. But once they leave those places, what do? Right? What do you have afterwards? And a lot of them, I see this, they relapse because they let them go and you're off in the world and what do you have? So for me, I'm told that if they tell you how important it is for you to immediately get into a 12-step program, and I think you guys already have that. You're already doing that. They're not telling you to do it after you leave here. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So my thing was, for me, the 12-step program provided me with a blueprint. It told me if I do this, this, and this, then my life would get better. And if I stopped doing this, this, and this, then there were things that would bring it back to let me know, okay, you remember what happens when you do this, and that's what the 12-step program does. It gives me a blueprint to let me know if I stop doing these things, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to become that dry, drunk, or addict. So that's what the 12-step program provides for me. And I hope that this message sends it to other people who are in a recovery, any kind of recovery, that once you leave that place, you need to go to a 12-step program or somewhere where you can still have that structure. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Because once I leave and I don't have people watching and telling me this is what I need to do. You need to do this. You need to get up. They're not making me accountable anymore, but those 12 steps make me accountable without having someone to look over me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So my next thing is I want to ask you guys, how have your relationship changed with your families? I think that's super important, and I think that was one of my number one things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a different person for my family. That was my thing for me to come into recovery in the beginning. Now that I'm in recovery, I'm here for me. And I'm here because I want to become the best Lorene. So let's talk about your relationship with your families. How have that changed since you've been in recovery?
One story that really speaks truth for me. I mean, probably like a lot of us, we were skeptical and scared of when it came to, making the amends. Or just the fact that our relationships can be healed, and that promise. I have 2 older brothers, a mom and a dad. And I was mostly on speaking terms with my mom, my dad here and there. The one that really speaks truth to me the most is with my mother. When she finally came to have a real visit with me in April, she said, I can't even say I feel like I'm talking to the old Jessie, because this is a whole new person I've never spoken to before. And yeah, that's, I don't know. Like, there's really just no words for that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never expected her to say something like that ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just telling someone today, like, our conversations on the phone are getting longer and longer, and it's more about her and less about me. Fortunately, too, this program has helped me, mend a relationship with my brothers. One of my brothers, he actually called me, wanting some sisterly advice with his, with something that's going on with him.
Yes.
I could never provide that before. I couldn't show up for him as a sister. And even like past, relationships, like my ex-girlfriend, I have learned to forgive. And to forgive means like not to just not be angry anymore. It just means just to not feel those feelings.
Yes.
And to accept and find freedom from that. And we can actually be good friends for each other now. And this is literally all thanks to the 12-step program in this house.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's unexplainable, indescribable. I don't know. It really is God's work, and you see it through a new lens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Alexa.
My relationship with my family has changed a lot. I haven't really had much of a like troubling relationship very often, but a lot of that was just because I avoided them a lot, even though we were living in the same house. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and then my mom and my dad. And my mom and my dad saw me the most during my addiction. They saw kind of the worst of it. My older sister was off at college, and so she didn't see it a lot. My younger sister is 12, so we tried to hide her a lot from it. So they saw a lot of it, and it's taking a little bit more work to build that trust back for sure. But it's definitely like I can have conversations with them, just regular conversations that like 2 normal people would have, like a father and a daughter would have, and like that's just crazy to me to think about, because like before I couldn't think of like the last time I like actually talked to my dad about something that wasn't about something I did wrong, I guess. So it's really cool to see that. And my younger sister, I mean, she's 12, but she knows a lot more than we give her credit for, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. They see a lot, they take in a lot. But I don't know, I think it's cool. I'm hoping, like, she just started middle school, so I'm hoping, I mean, that's kind of when my downfall kind of started. So I'm hoping that she kind of got to see a lot of my experiences in a way that she can take them and, like learn from them.
And you can be there for her and share your experience.
Yeah, that's that too. Like, I mean, knowing that, like, I've told her I'm like, I've done it all. Like, like you can come to me with whatever. And so I think just like letting her know that you know, that I am here and I am gonna be someone that's gonna support her. And I'm not gonna go run and just tell my mom and dad everything, right? Like, so I think that that's really cool. Just being able to use my past experiences to help her and make her feel more comfortable. And my older sister, she's a normie. She's just, you know, she's in college. She drinks like a college kid. Yeah, I think it's cool. We've gotten a lot closer. We've been able to share some similar, like, traumatic experiences that we've been able to actually talk about and, like, relate on, even though we don't have, like, the same story necessarily. Like, I mean, we still grew up in the same house and we still experienced a lot of the same things. So it's really cool to, like, talk to her and kind of see the different perspectives of, like, my alcoholic mind and how I viewed a lot of things, and then how she viewed a lot of the same things. Yeah, I don't know. My family relationships have improved a lot, and I think it's really cool. My mom is in her own recovery, not for alcoholism, but for being a parent of an addict. And
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool to see her kind of taking that, and she goes and she helps, like, other moms and other parents with kids that are struggling too. And so she's gotten really involved in that, and that makes me really happy. So
having that support.
Yeah. And now she's talked about how she kind of feels like it, like, wasn't for no reason, and, like, she has a purpose too now out of it. So yeah, it's really been a blessing.
Good.
On the family.
Good. Your family sounds amazing when we talk about them.
Yeah.
My family has some experience with addiction. I'm actually a child of an alcoholic that's been through recovery before. So they were familiar with kind of the process and the 12 steps already. So that was nice, having that understanding. One thing I would say, the biggest thing that I've noticed, and I'm pretty close with all my extended family, I haven't been told that they're proud of me more times than since I've been in recovery. I mean, they tell me that they're proud of me all the time now, and that feels great.
Good.
Even, like, I was pretty good student and everything, but this, I can tell, has made the biggest impact in the way that they view me, and how much I've just gained the respect back that I feel like I lost for so many years. And that's been amazing. And definitely communication has changed tremendously. I feel like I can be honest with them now about myself and about where I'm struggling. I can be honest with them about things that maybe they do that I feel like maybe it's things that they could change that would help me in my recovery. And that's awesome. I used to not be able to feel like I could do that. I didn't have the strength to tell them those types of things, because I'm a people pleaser, and that was always really hard for me. So yeah, definitely them being proud of me, communication, those are the biggest things that I've noticed change in my family since me being in recovery. Yeah, I have a younger sister too, and she's familiar with everything that I'm going through. And yeah, I feel like she, hopefully, even though it's in our genetics, if she ever does realize that she's one of us, she'll have a plan, she'll know, and she'll have someone that she can come to talk about it.
Exactly. She knows that you're there. So that's good. Amazing. Well, if you guys, I'm going to wrap it up with this note. If you guys, if there's someone listening and they have doubts about coming to a sober living environment, what would be something that either one of you ladies would like to tell them to help them make that decision?
I say do it.
Good job.
I mean, what do you have to lose, right?
You can you know what, if you don't want what we got and you don't like what we got, you can always get a refund.
Yeah.
You can get refunded with your misery.
I always say too, like, I wish I knew then what I know now. Like, I wish I could have came here sooner. Not saying this wasn't God's plan for me, because it is, but like, when was offered to me years ago, and I knew about it, and I knew this is what it would do, I would have done it.
Awesome.
Or just any sober living. Yeah.
Ellie, what you think?
It's hard work. It's definitely hard work, but it's been worth it so far. And I know for a fact that I would have not been able to make these changes in my life without.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being on Silver Lining.
Thanks,
and
Lorene.
Really enjoyed chatting with you, ladies, and oh my God, this is so much fun. And thank you guys for tuning in once again. And if nobody told you today, we love you on Silver Lining. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And that's a wrap. What you guys think? Was that fun?